The purpose of this video is to showcase ScanForce wave picking. This particular recording is going to showcase the wave picking with the multi-bin install with the DSD ScanForce multi-bin, which is also the Sage Chosen multi-bin included with the Sage 100 Cloud version. To start off, I'm going to go ahead and create some orders. The concept behind wave picking is to group multiple orders together to be picked at one time. This feature also encompasses the concept of directed picking, where we use bin allocations back in the system back here in Sage to go ahead and direct us on the scanning side of this to sort by bins so that not only are we picking multiple orders at one time, but we're also being directed in the most efficient way through our warehouse. That prevents having to go from one aisle to another aisle, then back to the original aisle there to pick an order. That feature functions with or without wave picking. Wave picking also functions in a non-multi-bin environment as well. So to get started, we're going to need to have a couple of orders here to wave together. So I'm in my Sage system going into sales order entry, and I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new order here. I'm going to select a customer, make sure that I'm in my proper warehouse for my demo. I'm going to go over to lines and I'm going to add a couple of items here. So we'll add an item, put in a quantity, and now it's going to ask me if I want to auto allocate the bins. That is a feature of the multi-bin solution. I'm going to say no at this point because I want to manually do that here once I add another item. Going to add another item, we'll add a quantity of 5. I'm going to say no to that as well. I'm going to go back here now and to do the manual bin allocations. I'm going to select the bin distribution, and I'm going to select a bin from here. I'm going to go ahead and key in bin A50U. And for this other item, I'm going to go select another bin, A30M. And I wanted to do that so that when you see on the scanner, it'll go ahead and sort these in a manner by bin. So this item 6655 will be below item D1000 because of the bin sort. So we have order 301 created. We'll create another order, grab a separate customer here who is on credit hold, which we will ignore for purposes of this recording. We will select the first item here on the list of lookups. We will allow this to auto allocate, and then I'm going to add an item that's on the other order as well. We'll change the quantity though. Actually, we'll just go with quantity of 5. And this time we'll say no, and we'll also select the bin we chose on the previous order. So we have 2 orders that are now created in our Sage system. On the scanner, I would simply log in, which our login adheres to permissions that are set within ScanForce. Under order processing is where I'll find my receiving and shipping. Under shipping, we have several options. We can do a straight picking with not waving the orders together. We have the ability to wave, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. Then you have checking and packing and sales order shipping. Checking and packing is what would be done after an order is staged, either through the wave picking or standard picking. Sales order shipping can be thought of as a quick ship. This is where you don't need to stage an order, you just simply want to get the order out the door. Again, for the purpose of this recording, we're going to go into wave picking. So on the device that I have in my hands here, I'm going to select wave, and it's going to ask me to create a wave. I select that, and it wants to now know which orders am I going to group together or wave together. Now, if you wanted to, you could print off barcoded picking sheets, and you could scan the order numbers. You could also key them in if you wanted to. Simply tap on the screen. The ScanForce screens automatically pull up the alphanumeric keypad. Or you can do a lookup. And the lookup is connecting up to your Sage system real time. It's going to display for me all of the orders that are available to now create a wave with. You can scroll, you can type into the search field there by customer name or the order number. I'm going to scroll down to get order. My memory isn't the best, but I believe it was 303 or 301 and 302 is what we did today. You can see by the dates. So we'll select our first order. It's going to connect up and grab the data from Sage instantly and load this onto my device here. So now I'll be able to do this wave pick whether I'm connected or disconnected from the network. I'm going to go ahead and simply just key in the order number for the second order here. Same process though, it's going to connect up and it's going to load that order as a part of this wave. Once the information is on my device now, I can continue to add orders into my wave or simply tap back I could even create another wave at this point or go directly into the wave that I just created. I'm going to select that wave and hit accept. And now it wants to know where I'm going to pick to. This is a prompt due to the multi-bin environment that I'm in. When we do a picking of any sales order, whether it's the wave picking that I'm showing now or just the standard picking process, we're doing a couple of things that will happen back in Sage. One, we're going to move items out of wherever you're picking them from into a staging location. We're also going to write back and change the allocation from where it was allocated in the warehouse for that order now over to wherever it's been staged to. Now, staging bins could be set up per customer. You could have a generic bin such as staging 1, 2, 3, or shipping, and that's what I have set. So you could key that in. You also could scan it, and it's going to immediately now go over to the item prompts. You'll see here the first prompt or the first display is bin A30M for that item D1000 that I created, and it's on sales order 301. So at this point, the user would know to go to bin location A30M. They will know to scan the appropriate item. If you were to give it an incorrect scan for an item, the system would validate that for you and alert you that you've scanned an invalid item. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and key in your bin. You could even select from the screen, or if you have those barcoded, simply scan your bin location. It knows that there are 5 allocated for this, and you'll see the intuitiveness of the ScanForce programs by automatically defaulting to the quantity field, keeping a very clean screen, and defaulting to the numeric keypad here. We also display the unit of measure so you know what you need to pick. At this point, I'll key in my quantity of 5. You'll see that item now drops off and I go on to my next item. Now, just by chance, this item automatically allocated to the bin that I previously had indicated for this item here for both orders. Ordinarily, you may have that at a different bin, but at the same time, this also showcases the efficiency of, instead of going and picking this item, walking back, grabbing another item, then realizing that I had to pick this item from the same bin, I now know they're all together. So what I can do is, as I mentioned, you can scan or you can tap on the screen. This is a key feature that comes into play if items are out of reach of being able to scan. One option would be long-range scanners, or you could simply allow the user to tap on the screen. This is also a feature that can be disabled. So if you do not want people to actually be able to tap on the screen, you want to force them to scan the items themselves, you can disable this and the user would have to scan a barcode. So at this point, I can even do that with the bin location. Select my bin, grab the 2 quantity for this item, continue on. At this point now, I'll just grab my next item. Now, one of the important things to point out here is that item was listed out twice. Yes, it's in the same bin, and yes, it's the same item, but it's important to know that when you're even picking or staging an item, that it belongs to 2 separate orders. So it showcases that on 2 separate lines. We'll select our bin, grab our quantity for this particular order. We stay there now, so again, we're keeping efficiencies by not having to wander all over the place. Grab that item again, indicate my bin, and now you see I don't have any other items left. I can continue on here. Now, you do not have to completely pick a wave, or if you're using standard picking, you don't have to completely pick an order. If another person comes up to pick one of those orders, they're only going to see what's left to still be picked. To send this data back to Sage, I simply tap the arrow at the top. I get an overview screen that shows me what I've picked, and if I had skipped anything, it would show up as an unresolved line, which I would also get a warning reminding me that I have unresolved lines prior to sending the data over to Sage, just in case I skipped an item on accident. In this instance, I do not have any unresolved lines, so when I hit send data, it's going to connect up to the network and it's going to send this data back to my Sage system. Now, as I mentioned before, we do a couple of things when that imports back over to Sage, and they all happen real time. First thing is, and I'll show this by going into inventory maintenance, we do an instant bin move. So you're looking back in Sage seeing data real time as far as bin transfers and quantities. To access multi-bin, very easy. You see quantities broken down by warehouses and transactions. Same thing in the quantity tab. Access multi-bin by simply double-clicking on whatever warehouse you want to drill into. And it's going to default to the quantity field where now you can see there's 15. There were 10 on one order, 5 on another order, so a total of 15 were now moved into my shipping bin. Same with the other items that we showed you. It did an instant bin transfer. The other thing it did was it instantly changed the bin allocation to now reflect the current and accurate location. So if I pull up one of those sales orders, and I go to lines, when I pull up the bin distribution, you will now see it has been allocated to the shipping bin. Now, all of this information is also being updated back in the ScanForce dashboards, which is going to show you the progress of an order from being picked to now being shipped, all the way from ready to pick, all the way through the entire process. But this is the ScanForce picking, and in particular, the wave picking.